Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. You know, I realized I made a mistake in this pinned comment. So now I'm going to have to ask one of you guys to help me do it. I need to remove that pin. All right. So my name is Alison. I am a certified dating and relationship coach, and I primarily work with singles to help them find the love and commitment that they deserve. I like to go live about 2 times a week so that I can offer you guys some insight on dating and relationships, because that's my area of expertise. And I like to have on guests who have either a different perspective or they work with a different population so that we can get a more well-rounded conversation around said topics, dating and relationships. So I do have an amazing guest who will be joining us shortly, Siobhan, and she is going to be talking about marriage. You guys know that that's not really my area of expertise. I've been married for a year and a half, and I like to stay in my lane. However, Siobhan is going to be joining us in the next 5 seconds or so to give us some insight, to teach us what we need to know in order to maintain healthy marriages. So if you have any friends who are either currently married or looking to become married, this is the live for them. Please go ahead and share this live by clicking on the arrow that's at the bottom right there. Okay, we're going to have to do a block party. Thank you very much. You're going to click the arrow that is right there at the bottom, and you can go ahead and share this with someone who you think can benefit. Hello, Mia, I don't want to get that wrong. Hello, Mia. Hello, Labana Rose. How are you? Bambino, Alex, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Dove, King B, Life Coach Roxy, thank you for joining. Likeable Lisa, everyone who's here, I appreciate you. Please go ahead and share. We're going to have Siobhan join us now. Hey, everybody. Hey, beautiful lady.
Hey, honey, what's up? How you doing?
I am fine. I'm hungry, but other than that, I'm always hungry, so that ain't nothing new these days. So, beautiful lady, I want to jump right in because I know that you have some information for us. We've been talking in the DMs. We've been talking about intimacy. We've been talking about how to make our relationships stronger. So before we get into that good stuff, first, we need to know your expertise, child, because folks be on these platforms just talking. And we want to make sure that whoever we are listening to actually have the information available for us. So, Miss Siobhan, who are you? Where you from? How you got into this? Tell us everything.
I'm Siobhan Davis. I am a marital strategist and relationship coach for specifically millennial married couples, but I do not discriminate because we all need help at some times. I am certified to be a marriage coach. I also have a background in human development and psychology and behaviors and all the things that just helps us to understand what it is like to be able to be in relationships successfully, right? With that success starting with yourself, your internal relationship, and the things that we get to project when we enter relationships, when we enter marriage, when we are just doing the things that we do as it pertains and relates to somebody else. So I'm excited to be here tonight, Alison, and I want to thank you in advance for sharing your platform with me, and I look forward to the conversation tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I need to ask someone for a favor, somebody who is here in the audience who wants to do us a favor, and they want to pin a comment, because I pinned the comment and then I realized I didn't have your whole name. So somebody who loves me and somebody who loves Siobhan, can you pin in the you can comment and I'll pin it, that today's live is talking about marriage and intimacy with I am Siobhan Davis. And if you need to know how to spell Siobhan Davis, you're going to click on the arrow that's in the middle of top of the screen. It's right here over my head. It should be like right here. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to do us that favor because we about to get talking and I don't want to be talking and texting. All right. Marriage and intimacy with I am. Oh, there we go. See, Cassandra got it. Thanks, Cass. You the best. That was fast.
I already knew it was she be on it. You already know. That analytical brain like
All right. So we know the expertise. We understand the experience, Siobhan. So talk to us about what are some of the struggles. What are some of the struggles that your clients are facing in their marriages?
Alison, can I be real on your platform? Because I like to be real.
Absolutely. I go 100%.
They're selfish. That is the biggest struggle that I run into with people who say that they want to be married and they do not want to do the work, and they put all of it on their partner to do, to heal them, to love them in all the ways they want to be loved, to supply every single need that they have. There is a strong resistance around changing to do something different. And one of the things that I talk about all the time, intimacy requires accountability. The people ain't ready to be accountable. And when I say intimacy requires accountability, it requires you to own your stuff in order to be able to move forward different. It requires you to own your feelings so that you're able to navigate difficult conversations. And I feel like a lot of people, a lot of people are engaging in marriage. A lot of people are engaging in relationships and they are emotionally impotent. That's one of the biggest struggles that I see when working with couples.
Okay, so you gave us a lot. So let's take a step back. Intimacy. Usually people like to use the word intimacy as a soft and nice way of saying the word sex. But you and I know in this space that they are not interchangeable. So first, can you define for us what is intimacy?
Intimacy is the ability to be able to see yourself and allow other people to see you in your full, transparent, naked, authentic self. That is intimacy. With your baggage, with your good, with your bad, with your trauma, it's the ability to be able to see you first and then open up that window for other people to see you as well.
Okay, I love it. And so how can one practice intimacy other than sex? We already know. So how are ways that couples who are healthy, who are successful, how are they practicing intimacy? What actual activities does one do or does a couple do to practice this?
One of the ways that couples can deepen their intimacy is through sharing. And there's an acronym that I use that just states, I am safe. And through your ability to be safe on your own, something that you can do is share. Open up with your spouse regarding like deep secrets about your insecurities. Yes, I do feel jealous. Yes, I do. I'm still in a sore spot regarding the way I was treated with my mom, the way I was treated with my dad. Really having conversation that matter, asking those type of questions and being able to answer questions. What triggers you? Where do you still need to heal? How do you feel about growing? Why are you resistant to change? Those are some of the questions that I offer couples to sit and do at least 30 minutes a day and just share back and forth information, not just yes, no questions, but like, let's really talk about this. I want to understand why you do what you do. I want to understand why I do what I do. And I think being able to just open up in a space of yes, right? Which is like being able to yield, being able to explore, and being able to submit to whatever it is that you feel like is still a stronghold so that you can start the process of moving forward.
Okay, so in-depth conversations where you're sharing deeply seated information, secrets. What else? What are there other activities that one can do with their partner in order to deepen their intimacy?
Some other activities is trying something new together. Being to try things that your spouse like, being able to try things that you like, doing things that you have never done together, such as interactive type of things, going to couples workshops together, maybe going up a mountain together, bike riding, being able to sit. Cassandra, I need you to send that to me because I just made that up on the spot. Being able to explore. One of the things that I offer for people to do together to create intimacy, go around that person's family. There's so much information that you would get sitting around your spouse or your partner's family by seeing the way they interact with the dynamic of, sorry, my screen went dark. Being able to interact with their mother, with their siblings, it gives you a lot of information. Some of the things that you want to look at, how are they in their responses? How are they when they're speaking with other people? How are they when people are speaking to them? How are they when somebody hit a sore spot for them? There's a lot of information in that, and it actually offers you an opportunity to go deep. After you guys, I ain't saying do this in front of their mama and their siblings. After you guys leave, like, hey, babe, I noticed that, whenever your mother asks you for something, it's just hands down. Like, there might be a tendency to people please. So there's different ways that you guys can interact on that. And I will also say, start playing games that require you to dig deeper than just yes and no. There's some couple games available that you guys can do together. And also just hanging out. Like, everything don't always have to be deep either. Touching, sitting next to each other, cuddling, caressing. Those are things that can create deep intimacy with your spouse. And be friends.
Mm-hmm.
That part, because people ain't friends no more.
Okay, got it. So can we also take a step back to another phrase that it seemed like it really rang true for a lot of folks in the comments? I saw them writing it a couple of times in regards to emotional impotency.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give us some kind of definition or clarity on what that looks like?
Emotional impotency. It means that you have partnered with your trauma and you are using your trauma as the standard for how you live. That is emotional impotency, that you are choosing to stay stuck in a space where it has already been reflected back to you, because this relationship ain't the first broken relationship that you might have been in. This is not the first time that you heard the information that you heard, but we are literally partnering with our trauma. We are making it our place of comfort, and we're creating it as the standard for living. That's where you hear people say, well, just take me as I am. Well, nobody had a problem with it. Well, this is what I've been doing all my life. Well, this is how I grew up. And your partner is literally saying, nah, you got to shatter the glass ceiling on that. That's okay. That's what, that's just what it is to be impotent. You're stuck. You don't want to grow.
Mm-hmm. So you use the word that I like to use a lot, which is choose. And people don't like to hear choose, right? Because they say, well, Siobhan, well, Alison, why would I choose a hard life? Why would I choose to be uncomfortable or to be unfulfilled? So how can one choose to be stuck? Who wants to be stuck? How is that a choice, Siobhan?
Right. So when I say choose, I'm talking to all the people on this line where you have heard, you done been on Alison page, you done been on somebody page where something triggered your thinking. Somebody said something that triggered your thinking to just challenge where you are right now. And the choice is that, nope, I'm going to stay right here. Well, this is comfortable, and I get it. It's the fear of the unknown. If I go that way, what might happen? And what I say to people who have that, you know, as the reason why they're not going to grow, what happens if you do it and something's better on the other side? So you have to be willing to take a risk to grow. It's like saying, well, trees should stop growing, then we're going to die. And so you literally have to see it as, okay, it's a ripple effect. Yes, it might get messy. And I understand. I was just speaking to a client right before I got here. She said, oh my God, I didn't know the process was supposed to be messy. So getting the understanding that growing, that healing is a journey, right? You never get to a space where you are just completely healed. And that it's a messy journey. And all the stuff that they taught you as a child about not crying and not speaking up and all this, it's okay to start to unravel that so that you can challenge the standard and do something different.
Understood. Siobhan, let me ask you a question in regards to your clients. Because I work with singles, I work with individuals. They're my favorite human beings because I think it's so much easier for me to move a single person, one human being, than it is for me to move two, especially if those two don't necessarily want the same things. My assumption has been, and you're the expert on this call today, has been that many times one person is dragging the other person to the coach. One person is dragging the other person to the therapist. So with your experience, what is it like, and this is probably more for me, what is it like working with couples? Is my assumption wrong? Is it as hard as I think it is working with two people versus working with one?
It's really not. And I want to be straight up honest with you. Some of my clients are tapped into this call right now. And if you guys so choose to comment, you can. What I've learned with working with couples, the reason why it's hard and people are trying to drag their spouse to therapy with them, try to drag their spouse to coaching with them, is because really their motive is for their partners to change so that they can love their partners better. When couples realize that when I change and I love me better, my change is so effective that it would down into the marriage. And that has been the experience. I've had people that the husband just started or the wife just started, right? And then you have the spouse saying, well, what's going on over there? And when we focus change on us, we begin to reflect. Because when you get a marriage, you guys are just mirroring each other anyway. You guys are reflecting each other's behavior. Light and darkness cannot dwell in the same place. And the smallest beacon of light, the smallest beacon of home will light a dark room. You do it. You be the change. You start being kind. You start being friendly. You start healing. It's going to change the atmosphere. Because Because it's going to change the way that you're seeing things. It's going to change the way that you're showing up. There's no way you can heal and still move in the same vein that you were moving in before you healed. So it's not hard. Once people understand, yes, we're in this marriage together, but I have to do the work. Never about your spouse.
Okay, so that's usually my forte, right? You work on you work on becoming a better version of you for yourself so that you can show up as a better version for yourself as well as others. So by default, your relationships with your siblings should improve. By default, your relationship, right? So then by default, it's a win for everybody. However, there are some circumstances, and you tell me, where the other person is really problematic. How do you deal when you have one spouse who says we need some work and I'm willing to do the work and I want to work with this other person, but the other one is really broken, really maybe emotionally disturbed? When I say maybe going through a depression, like how do you do it when that other person really is showing up in a way that me changing my behavior wouldn't change them because they are really, I want to use the word disturbed, but not in the definition of disturbed. You know what I mean?
Is one answer to that. Boundaries. And this is the thing I say. When you're changing, Alison, you are less prone to respond to people in a way that you did before you change. So even if that is the case, even if your spouse is not changing, first of all, why did you choose them? But I'm not even going to get into that today because we ain't got time. Right?
That's the work that I do. So that
I'm telling you.
They done moved. They already married, so we can't deal with that right now.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. You chose that person. At some point, they showed you who you were, who they were, and you said, "I am okay being connected to you for the rest of my life." But in situations when you feel like your spouse is not changing, you have to set hard boundaries that's conducive to the growth of the marriage. And what hard boundaries can look like is, well, okay, I'm not going to engage with you when you begin speaking like that. In setting that boundary, you have to know that that boundary is for you. If you're saying when you start yelling, when you start cursing, I'm not going to engage with you, and then your spouse start doing these things, and you engage with them with the same behavior that you just said you're not going to entertain, you're not upholding the boundary. So boundaries. Nobody can disrespect your boundary but you. Make that extremely clear. You get to walk away. You get to say, well, we can't have this conversation while you're speaking to me like this. You get to say, well, no, I did say at 6 p.m. I was no longer going to do X, Y, Z. You uphold the boundary. Don't do what you said you wasn't going to do. You know how I ended up loving my husband the way I do? He set the standard for me to love him that way. When I wanted to engage in conversation with 45 questions back to back to back to back, he started taking a stand. He like, yo, I'm at my capacity. I said 2 questions. I can't do anything past this. All right. Every time I tried, he set that boundary. So I had to fall in line with the boundary.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
That looks like set the boundary for you and stick to the boundary for you. Don't force your spouse to change because you can't do that. You have to let go, release of wanting to control them. Show up with the new tools that you know how to show up with.
Understood. So tell me, Siobhan, in your practice, do you ever have couples that you say either in your head or you might say aloud, this ain't gonna work?
I do.
So you say it in your head, you work. Like, what is the process for a mental health professional when you're working with a couple and you believe this cannot work? What do you do?
In my head? No, I'm saying it out loud. That's my boundary. You're not going to exhaust me. You're not going to exhaust me on my assignment. If I feel that couples are extremely combative, first of all, I only work with couples if they have mental health, any mental health issues, they have to be followed by a clinician. You have to be your own therapist. If you're taking medication, you have to make sure that you are doing these things. And I make it very clear. I am not a therapist. I am a coach. I will help you get from where you are to where you're going. Now, there's a couple I was just working with, right? And I had to let them know, I personally do not have the capacity to help you get your marriage where you want to. Why? Every other day, you guys are abandoning each other. Every other day, you want a divorce. Every other day, you don't know if it's going to work. And I let them know up front, we can't do this anymore. I have the tools to help you get to where you're going, because I can't even help you break through where you are now. Understand that it's not a reflection of my work if a person does not have the mental capacity to do the things that's required for them to be a part of the coaching program. So I refer out. Hey, there's this person that you can work with, or whatever it might be, if it's spiraling out of control, because the last thing I want to do is be a disservice to the couples that I'm serving. I'm not saying it in my head. I'm letting I almost slipped. I'm letting you know right here. This is where the journey ends. You're not getting your money back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You are the one who no longer want to commit, and you have to go and find help.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, and that's all. That's my boundary. I lead couples by keeping my standards where I'm trying to tell them that they need to go and what they can do.
And I'm glad, and I appreciate your honesty, and I'm glad that you said that, because that's something that I say all the time, right? Like, everyone has a set of tools that works, that makes sense for them. You have your skill set where you work with married couples. I absolutely do not work with married couples. I hardly like to work with couples, period, right? I have my specific set of skills, and there are licenses and there are certifications, and I like to make it abundantly clear as to where my educational line is and what, right? And what my training is. And I think that that's super important. And it's so funny. I mentioned to a friend earlier today that a part of my vetting process is to, at least as confident as I could be based on my experience, to make sure that people have the capability, as you said, the capacity to even get through the program in the first place, because this isn't a money grab, right? Like, I'm not looking to work with people who don't have the capacity to take their money, and then what? Then they never get the partner they deserve, and then they curse me out and they tell all their friends that I ain't you know what I'm saying? So that's not what we're looking for.
That part right there. And I also screen clients that I work with. So there's a very in-depth conversation that we're having. There's also an assessment that they're taking with their spouse as well before we can even engage in moving forward into what coaching might look like. And that's because I offer group coaching. What you're not going to do is come in here and set this place afire while all these other couples are trying to do their work, but also so that I can assess, are you mentally prepared for what it's going to get? Because what I'm giving couples is the blueprint for them to do something different, with the understanding that for some people it can be hard, it can be resistant. I don't want anybody on my dime falling into deep depression and they're so anxious based on what the program requires.
Yes.
The experience requires you to be at a certain place in your marriage. First of all, you either in or you out. Don't come to me flip-floppy, because we ain't working together.
Mm-hmm.
Know that you are committed to the process no matter what the process looks like.
Mm-hmm.
When I meet couples, they're usually on their last leg for their marriage, right? So I'm super upfront about what it's going to entail. Can you handle it? Okay. Once you sign on that dotted line, you're saying yes to the process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a way that I go about just making sure, that everybody stay safe and that their mental is being taken care of the way that it needs to before they enter this space with me.
Understood. Siobhan, can you share with us just a little tidbit? Because I know you got to pay the cost to be the boss. But can you share with us a tidbit of maybe an activity or two that you do in your groups that helps to strengthen people's marriages?
I want to give it away without giving it away. So one of the things that we do, we practice vulnerability. And the way that we practice vulnerability is through an activity where I have these couples sifting through garbage virtually. It's a virtual platform. Don't nobody be like, oh, she got them in a garbage can. No. But they're pretty much sifting through garbage to find treasure in a space of like a scavenger hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that there's a lot of awareness created there, because even though there's so much garbage, there's so much clutter, there's so many things that have happened, right? That represents the baggage, the treasure that you're looking for, which is your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again. The treasure you're looking for is not just supposed to be good to you. The treasure that you are looking for is for you to be your authentic self and show up in the space of relationship and marriage with freedom, pure liberation, because you are comfortable with being you. And that requires vulnerability. So in that space, they get to look for these things that I assign for them to look for. Once they find that treasure, I take them on a journey of, this is what vulnerability looks like. You think it's not there, but it's there in the midst of the clutter. You have to look for it. I take them through a space of implementing safety measures, right? What causes you to feel safe? I ain't talking about your husband or your wife. What helps Alison feel safe? What helps John feel safe, right? Because a lot of us are looking for safety in somebody else, and we don't even know what it means. So the process of safety, taking them through the process of what vulnerability gets to look like, and then having them, I believe 110%, couples are getting this breakthrough because they are doing the work on the spot in the space of being in a workshop. So they practice, they have me guiding them. Okay, what could you have said differently? So getting people to create personal awareness game changer. Because some people, your spouse been saying this for 17 years. Somebody else can say the same thing in a different way, and you hear it differently because now you're open to receive.
Yes.
So that's just one of the things that I do. I spoke about that one because that one is the one where people are like, oh my God, it never left. Right? It never left. It's here. I just have to find it. I just have to sift through all the tantrums and all the other things. And I also support couples in supporting their spouse when their spouse is having a tantrum. Let them have that tantrum. Support them, just like you would do your kid. So those are some.
Okay, we don't want to give away too much. All right, we're gonna. I just want to thank you. All right, we're not done yet, but I just want to thank you because, as I mentioned before, this is not my area of expertise. I don't like to talk and pretend that I know something I don't know. I've been married for 1.5 years, and we still in the honeymoon stage, and I anticipate we're gonna be in the honeymoon stage forever. But that's a different story. That's a different story for a different day, right? So I cannot. I can't relate. I can relate to dating struggles. I can relate to cheating and being, felt like I'm being used, abused, whatever, but I can't relate to that. So this is why it's so important that we share our platforms with other mental health professionals, with other people who are in the field, but they work in a different capacity so that folks can reach out to you directly. So I want to ask you, Siobhan, how do we reach out to you? How can we work with you?
Right here on Instagram, you can follow me, send me a DM at I am Siobhan Davis, or you can send me a text message to 347-658-3954 using the word elevate. That'll let me know that you're ready. You can also follow me on my website, SiobhanDavis.com. I am available. I'm not on social media a lot, but when I get here, I'm here. The best way to reach me is through that text messaging app. I'm there Monday through Friday. So
give us the number again. So folks in the comments, they could do us a favor and they could go ahead and they could write. So they have to text the word elevate. The word elevate to what number, Siobhan?
347-658-3954. That is 347-658-3954. That is
okay. We got it. So my last question to you, because now we know how to reach you, we know how to work with you. There was a piece that I didn't inquire. You said that folks' relationships have to be somewhere, right? I know for one thing, you made it very clear. We can't be flip-floppy. Both parties have to say, we want to be in this. We just don't know how to be in this successfully, but we want to be in this. What are the other standards that you're looking for in order for a couple to qualify to work with you in your program?
Okay. So let me clarify. If I have one spouse that's ready and you are ready to fight and take a stand for your marriage, I work with that because I have seen throughout the time of doing this marriage incubator experience that other spouse follows. So I just want to make that absolutely
okay.
You are the one to take a stand for your marriage in this season. It can be you. Another one of the qualifications is that if there are any mental health diagnoses, that you are being followed by a therapist. Whatever their standards and protocols are for you, that you are following that regimen in order for me to collaborate with your therapist for this to be successful. Another one of the things that I ask is that you be all in. Like, don't be here today and then you never come back again and I don't see you and then you come to me and say it didn't work and I need my money back. Because you ain't getting your money back. I just need to let you know that you have to do the work. And that's what I would say, willingness, Alison. If a person gives me a little bit of willingness, you'd be surprised how far that can stretch. You just need a yes. Yes, I want to do it. Yes, I want it to work. Yes, this is what I'm here for. Yes, I believe that it can change. Your hope is the thing that your success is predicated on. I can't be more hopeful than you are. Even though I can see the potential, you have to come hungry. And couples ain't hungry until they are in crisis mode. And when you're in crisis mode, you want to do any and everything that can get you some change. And I'm telling you, if you stick with it, if you stick with the tools that you are given, if you stretch yourself beyond what you think is comfortable, you can have the marriage that you want. And this is my disclaimer, because this is another one. No domestic violence. No, I'm not entertaining domestic violence or any substance abuse.
Got it.
So that's the criteria.
That's the criteria to work with Siobhan. If you are in a marriage, you are a married person, and you feel like that marriage is not functioning to its capacity or to its maximum, I want you to go ahead and reach out to Siobhan. I have her name pinned. I am Siobhan Davis at the bottom of this screen. Reach out to her, see if any of her programs would be a good fit. I'm sure she has a variety of options, and we need to get this together, because I think that us, very specifically the Black Americans, I don't know, I can't speak about anybody else, Africans, Caribbean people. I think that we are in a cold war against each other, men versus women. And so this is why I want to come on and I want to speak about ways that we can work on improving our relationships on both sides of the track. This isn't a one-sided situation. At no point did anybody say, husbands do this. At no point did either one of us say, I always see the wives doing that. It is an effort on both sides, on both fronts, okay?
Absolutely.
Ashley wants to know, do you work with couples who are not married? So long-term committed relationships.
If they're long-term committed relationships, you guys at least have to be engaged. I do premarital, I do marital repair, and then I also do marital maintenance. So even if you're in a marriage and you say we're thriving right now, right? I give proactive tools for you guys to be able to stay there, for you guys to be able to navigate. It's better to have it than to not have it. So premarital, you guys have to be engaged. That is a requirement for premarital, because there's a different level of commitment than when your boyfriend or just your girlfriend.
Yep.
No way, because I've been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a different level of responsibility when you are actively pursuing marriage or you are married already. There's a different commitment. You're not just walking away to go back to your mother's house because you're in your bag. I hope not. But that's the requirements for premarital. So
got it. We got it, Siobhan. Any final words? Anything you feel like you left off that you didn't really get to dive into? Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I want to just say, for anybody that's watching, for anybody that's married, typically when there is a disconnection in your marriage that is encompassed by resentment, I want you to check on the way you are asking for your needs to be met. And Alison, I got to come back with you because I got to talk about this thing, right? What I'm noticing with a lot of couples, that we are resenting our husbands, we're resenting our wives because we think we made requests, right? And what that can sound like is, well, I need you to love me more. I need you to spend time with me more. Get specific with what the request is. Mm-hmm. Babe, I need you to love on me. And what that looks like is you holding my hand when we're in a car. What that looks like is you rubbing my feet when I'm sitting on the couch. What that looks like is you asking me if there's any way you can support me. Alison, so many couples are frustrated, and when I take them through the activity of, do you know how to ask what you want? The conversation is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes long, and I'm confused. How your spouse know what you're asking for? And you ain't. So I just want to say that get clear on what it is that you are requesting. Ask your spouse if they have the capacity to meet that request, and if they do not, release resentment, and you guys figure it out together.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yep.
Clarity. I love it. On that note, Siobhan, thank you so much for joining. Again, anybody who is interested in learning more information about Siobhan's programs, you're going to go ahead and click her @name, which is at the bottom. It's pinned to the screen. You're going to reach out to her and see if there's any way that she can support you. Thank you so much. I'm going to go eat now. I don't know what you're about to do.
Yes.
You're going to make your vegan, you're going to make one of your vegan meals?
My husband is vegan. I'm going to eat me some meat. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have me a steak.
All right.
But yes, I'm going to host a workshop actually right now for married couples. So if any of you are interested, you can text that same number and I'll send you the Zoom information right now. All
righty. Thank you so much, Siobhan. Have a good night.
Yes, thank you, Alison. I had so much fun with this, and I can't wait to just do this again with you. I got to bring you on my platform.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one.
Good night, boo. See you later.
Bye.
All right. Bye.